start with the third podcast of the day, and I'm delighted to be joined by three fantastic leaders, Mr. Subhash Joshi, Ms. Tuina Srivastav, and Ms. Divya Singh. So we'll be discussing on Ideal 2.0, interdisciplinary enrichment activities for learning. So the national education policy, again, a lot of reference has been made since morning to the policy document. So it emphasizes the need for a holistic and multidisciplinary approach to education, fostering all the necessary skill sets which are kind of called 21st century, but please remember the kids who are entering the school today will get to see actually the 22nd century, many of them. So critical thinking, creativity, problem solving skills, all of these. So interdisciplinary learning integrates knowledge across various domains, breaking the silos of those traditional subject boundaries. While project-based learning, the base structure on which our Ideal 2.0 is being laid, offers contextual, experiential, hands-on opportunities for students to apply these insights in real-world contexts. So I'll start with you, Subhash sir, that the Ideal 2.0 plans, apart from being interdisciplinary, also are linked with sustainable development goals and about 3 to 4 skills as mentioned in the personal life skills framework. So how effective, from your experience, from your school case study, how effective were their linkages in making learning intellectually more invigorating and relevant?
Yeah, the Ideal 2.0 involves SDG as well as personal life skills, 3-4 life skills which have been involved. So in SDG, when the children work, they work for the environment, they work for climate change, that has seen a remarkable improvement in their thought process. I would like to share some anecdote here that, we were offering children in the lunch interval, plastic glasses to offer water from the tap. So they said that, sir, why this? Once, our teacher told us that, this is not required, and we did a project that there should be no plastic in the campus. So it was so wonderful to hear from a small child of class 5 that this is what is, actually not required in the campus. So we replaced those plastic glasses with paper glasses. The second anecdote which I would like to share is during the half-yearly examination, there was one Sanskrit paper which was in PDF form. So the PDF used a lot of papers where it was actually to be printed on 2 pages, but we printed on 4 pages. So one class 6 child walked into my office and said, sir, why so much page has been wasted? So during this PA2 examination, I discussed with Madam Pooja also that if you can share Word file with us, because the children are objecting to it. So sir, there is a lot of, awareness, lot of thought process which has changed in the children's mind, and they are really looking into it. Their critical thinking has changed. They are now thinking more, towards the solution to a problem rather than, just mugging up and giving a, given an approach where the children are able to, do it on their own. The teacher is just a facilitator, and it's a child-centric type of project work.
That's absolutely brilliant to hear. I'll come to you, Tuina ma'am, taking this same point conversation to the next step. So another key component of Ideal plans is the opening situation and big question. Each plan comes up with a big question which is relevant, contextual, a problem which is bothering the world in larger sense. So have you observed students starting to discuss similar real issues, what sir also gave some examples, issues that matter to them more? If yes, if you can throw some light on what those issues are.
Sir, I would like to share a very small, it's an anecdote. We just had sports day, and what sir just said about the environment and climate. So we were using marble dust. So one of our students, we all use, for marking the ground, we use marble dust. And maybe he was observing or whatever. After some time, he came to the sports teacher and he said, "Sir, this is actually disturbing the grass. See, my playground was so green and now it has become brown and ठीक से लगी नहीं रहा, the grass is dying kind of thing." Immediately it struck that definitely this is transforming our world. That's a very, very small incident which we all are doing. Sports day means we are marking on the ground, we are using certain things. So the question was very, very simple, that can't we use some other things which is not going to disturb the environment, which is not going to disturb the, the greenery, that part. So this is again a big question, that should we actually go into the core of it and start thinking from that level? And this was a child's question, believe me. We never thought, even I remember that I used to tell my sports teacher, please do the marking because practice nahi ho paegi. And repeatedly हम लोग ये चीज़ करते भी हैं. But at the same time when this came, then because we were not allowing the Mali to, water the grass, water the ground, because children were unable to practice. But this one small question made all of us think, and immediately I also said that, okay, we'll try to just put dots as marking so that we are not disturbing the ground and the greenery remains. Because all the Jaipuris, all our schools have beautiful playgrounds, and definitely we are using our own playgrounds for these purposes. So this is just a small question which came up from the child of class 4. And that was an eye-opener for me also, because I had to think that yes, this is something which has actually impacted his brain, and he thought. So going back to critical thinking again, a child of maybe 10 years, 9, 10 years, if he could think it this way, and he observed that. So both the things, observation as well as critical thinking along with communication. He could communicate, because there are a lot of times when children are unable to communicate, ki how will I speak this to, and whether it will be listened or not, or will be heard of. But the child of 10 years or 9 years, if he is able to express, that means somewhere the communication is also being effective. Somewhere his critical thinking is also, workable, and somewhere his concern towards the environment, toward the climate is also being visible.
Sir, if may I
Yeah,
add,
please.
I have seen children discussing, and they come to ask for resource. So
Yeah.
today I'll stay back after school, please make suitable arrangements, I'll go and explore in the computer lab. Teachers are talking about it, they say that we want to visit that particular place so that we can explore more. So in that manner, everybody is engrossed into the problems, and it is really giving us fruits.
I'm so glad to hear both of you that at least the project-based learning approach, I think the students have championed that cause.
Sir.
So, fantastic. I'll come to you, Divya ma'am, that another key element of these ideal 2.0 plans have components of peer and group work.
Yes.
So there is a fair share of community engagement in terms of surveys, questionnaires, all of these. So from the parents' point of view, have you received any feedback from any parent on this futuristic skill-based pedagogical insight which we are trying to do with Ideal 2.0 into the curriculum?
Yeah, definitely, sir. I would just like to share my experience here. We were doing this project with a very small children of grade 1, right? So there is this project by the name of plastic petrol, as sir has just mentioned. So what happens generally at the time of admission, we give a kit to our parents who have just taken the admission with a jute bag with a steel bottle in that. So grade 1, when they were doing this project, the child came to us, ma'am, when we are stopping this plastic, So I think that is why we have been given this bag right at the time when we entered Jaipuria. And till date, now today, in today's time also, whenever they go for shopping, the parent, they came to me and told me that whenever they go for shopping, that particular child carries that bag with them. That's a jute bag, and this is how it is helping. See, as parents, as individuals, we are all aware, but we are not able to make it into practice. We know what is good, what is bad, but everyday practice is not possible. We don't do, you know, due to certain reasons, we are not able to do that. But this is how the children are learning, this is how they are coming, and this is what the parent also initiated. And from that date, for the next time, whenever they are coming, any PTMs or anything, wherever they are going, all the parents, they are into practice of not getting anything here in the school, at least when they come. So
How
this
wonderful.
is what it is.
How wonderful. How wonderful.
May I
Sir,
add?
even I would like
Yes,
to
please.
share one anecdote, one incident here. This is the parent connect, what you just said. The feedback and the parent, there's one topic wherein, I think it's in food, where they have to interview the grandparents, and you know, they have to ask that what was your favorite food and how did you cook it. So children have actually done this at home. They've asked their parents, their grandparents that, you know, what was your favorite thing? Mera to pastry hai, so what was yours in the olden days? So they have shared the recipes, they have shared, and somewhere we had a parent connect activity of fireless cooking. So I could see the connect between the parent and the child, the mother and the child. Somewhere they were, you know, interacting with each other, because this was a close connect between a child and the mother. They would be, you know, preparing a dish kind of thing. So I could see that even if it is a traditional dish or even if it is a modern dish, both were engaged. And this was the feedback kind of thing which we received from the parents' end, that this is the same thing they did at home also with their grandparents also. So the grandparents were also surprised कि मेरा क्यों पूछ रहा है कि मुझे क्या पसंद था या कैसे मैं बनाती थी वो. But this was again the schools and the, you know, and Jaipuria's impact. The parent has immediately said कि इनको school में बताया गया है that you know, you ask. So this was a feedback from the grandparent also, that the school is impacting their relationship also somewhere through certain activities which maybe they were not sitting with their grandparents, maybe they were not discussing these things with their grandparents, but because it was a project, they sat, they discussed, they interviewed. So this was an interactive thing which happened between the family.
Nice. I'll just come to the implementation part with you, Subha sir, that right at the onset, when these plans at the beginning of the year was shared with the school, with the teachers, so there have been multiple briefing sessions organized online for teachers, because it's a very important concept to understand, but let's be honest, it's not easy to be implemented in the classroom. Okay, so the sessions, if you just reflect back to the beginning of the year, or the approach which have been taken, where the sessions according to you were adequate, or do you have any further suggestions to handhold and guide the teachers? What are some of those kind of feedback which you have received from the teachers, which we can kind of help and make their life a little bit more easier?
Yeah. So initially there were teething problems. As a new project starts, there is always resistance from the teachers that this cannot happen, this cannot happen. But once the briefing sessions were done, and there were a lot of peer learning also which happened in the school, so we came down to a particular solution that how it needs to be implemented in the classroom environment. Yes, there is a definite need of training the new staff, because the staff keeps changing. So we need to train the new teachers, those who have joined. Though we are doing it in-house, but it is not very sufficient, because we also have constraints of time. So it is better that if more such sessions can be organized for the new teachers, not only at the beginning of the session, But in
Throughout the year.
Yeah, throughout the year, maybe one per quarter.
One per quarter.
That will help.
Fantastic. Point
So
noted.
I have a small anecdote to share for the last question. The
Please,
previous
go ahead.
question. I got a mixed response from the parents. The parents were very happy that you are going beyond books. You are not talking of only rote learning. You are asking children to go and do some surveys and fill up some questionnaires. Because this was something very new for my city, Basti. Because being a very small place, there the children, they don't do this kind of activities in other school. So the parents were very happy, and they said that at least my child have started going out and speaking to people that these are the questions, and just support me for the answers, because it is required for the school. It is not for anything else, but it's a kind of survey. But there was another group of parents who were saying that if we can also be involved, if we can be also given a brief, before you start such projects, so that we can help the child out at home, because we have to call up the teacher, and then we have to ask the teacher that, how to go about it, because sometimes the child also feels that if the parental support can be given at home, that will support his project. So that was the
Fair
anecdote
point.
which I
A
wanted
very,
to
very
share.
critical point. Maybe we'll think something to pass on this message to the parent
Parents
as well, so that there's
We have
more
also thought of
bonding.
that. We'll
What
orient-
Tohina ji was saying, that it has kind of brought the family also together.
Sir.
So I think it makes a lot of sense.
So in the parent orientation, we have thought of that. We'll start doing this kind of introduction to them, that we have ideal and where the child may have to do some surveys. So support the child at home, and in case of any difficulty, you can come back to us.
Great. Divya ji, I'll come to you with the next question on implementation. That's the discussion which I want to take forward. So obviously 24-25 was a pilot year, okay?
Sir.
We gave enough leeway to the teachers also to start understanding each of those plans, start implementing what's expected out of them into the classrooms, without too much of strict boundaries and stuff, because again, as you also rightly said, it's a new concept. Initially, there will be teething issues.
Yeah.
So you have to give that time for things to start rolling on. Now, from the academic year 2025-2026, what is there currently in the 10 plans each grade that we provide? So from 1 to 8, 10 plans each grade, total 80 plans which we have designed. So one plan is expected to be executed every 2 months. Okay. So that's 5 in an academic year. That's 5 plans. So what's your take, your opinion as a school leader on this approach? Is it the right number? Do you want to see it reduced to maybe 2 or 3, or do you want to, even if it is increased to once a year, you feel that teachers would be able to manage? What's your take on
So
this?
I think it's adequate, because what we believe that it is comprising of many of the subjects at the same time.
Correct.
First thing. And secondly, what we believe that learning becomes 100% only if it is followed by a project. It is not only in the classroom that we are doing the question answer part or the writing part, then only it comes. But it becomes 100% when they are involved in something, wherein, because we already know we have different types of learners. So, to cater to these kind of learners who are more into the project work, the group activity is to be done. So, this is adequate. We can go ahead with the number of projects that we have. So, 2 per.
You feel it's the
adequate,
right
sir.
mix.
That's
Do you
the
have
right
any
mix.
difference of opinion?
Sir, I think with the number of working days on, with the number of, because this is a kind of thing which is happening for the classes up to 8. So normally, see, we need to work on the working days also, because it takes almost a week's time to get this particular entire ideal thing done by all the classes, the compilation and everything. So giving that 1 week's time, 5 time means 7 into 5. So we're giving that calculation needs to be done. If it is coming as per the working days, because you could see that last year, entire January up to class 8, the schools were
Closed.
closed. So we need to just check that apart from the syllabus which needs to be done, assessments, along with that, if this number is actually working, then only we can have 5. Otherwise, I think 2 per term or maybe 1 per term can be fine.
Okay. I'll come to you with the same question, but I'll just structure it in a different manner. So being interdisciplinary, the fundamental point of a plan being interdisciplinary or project based, it involves teachers teaching different subjects. You don't expect a social science teacher, if the plan is English and social science are the major subjects involved, you don't expect a social science teacher to come and teach English, which is there in that plan, or vice versa. So ideally, the way of delivery is this to be delivered by 2 curricular teachers in the classroom at the same time. Now this can only be done or achieved if we start utilizing once a week 1-0 period. Okay. So I'm curious to know that with regards to teacher allocation or teacher responsibility, what was the modus operandi in your school? How did the teachers work specifically on this interdisciplinary portion? Because every plan has got a minimum of 2 subjects which are core areas of these plans. So how did your teachers see the completion of the plan in that sense?
So ideally, yes, there should be 2 teachers taking the ideal 2.0, but it's not always possible. So, you know, at times what happened was that, one teacher takes the lead, like English teacher takes the lead, and the other teacher follows in her period that, you have done this much portion of the ideal, now you will complete this much portion of the ideal.
Okay.
Because this is the majority the schools are doing, because sparing 2 teachers in one class is just not possible in many course of time. Otherwise,
so that I may label it as one of the challenging aspects of implementation.
Because
okay.
you have to modify the lesson plan, your timetable for that particular day.
Sure.
So, what we have done is that we followed both the approaches, that where we are able to arrange for a teacher, we send 2 teachers in the class so that they can complete the ideal, and this happened around 50 to 60% classes. Rest of the classes, one teacher took the lead and completed her ideal, and then the other teacher followed her in the next period.
Great. My last question, same question to all 3. I'll start with you, Subhash sir, that keeping in mind the impact and success in the classrooms in the pilot year alone, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Ideal 2.0?
So I'll rate 8.
8.
Same, sir.
8. Okay.
Same, sir.
8. Okay. Then I have to come back with a follow-up question.
Why?
More than the why, that what do we have to do to move from 8 to 8.5 or to 9? I'm not even aiming for 10 because that's a near perfect. In education, I don't think anything can be near perfect. But small steps, what do we have to do collectively, both from the planning point of view as well as from the implementation point of view, to move this needle from 8 to 8.5?
So, as we have already discussed in the previous question, that we'll have 5 ideals in a year, 2 per month. For 2
1
months
per
we'll
2
have,
months.
Yeah, we'll have, for 2 months we'll have one such project. I think that will ease out the teachers as well as the students.
Sure.
Because the assessment will become easy. The children will have time to work on the project.
Sure.
Why only 1 week? We can work for 1 month.
Sure.
And the children can be given that kind of time.
Correct.
So I think when the teachers will get ease out, the children will ease out, the parent will also ease out. So this 8 will move to 9. Why 8.5? It will move to 9 because the success rate will become little higher. Because
Great.
we'll be able to
practice makes the man
Great.
perfect.
we'll be able to implement in a much better manner because the teacher will be more organized, and we'll be able to give 2 teachers in one period, because we'll plan it out like that these 2 months will have ideal, so we'll plan it out in that manner.
I get you. Tuina ji, any
Sir,
additional point?
actually, this point was thought because I think most of the schools are facing the problem of retention of teachers, new teachers coming up. So maybe the implementation and the understanding is somewhere missing out and somewhere it is not completely what we are expecting. So if the frequency is more, the implementation will be more smoother because they'll get used to of it.
Sure.
So definitely that can be, as I earlier also I said that with the matching days of working, if it is possible then we should go for it because frequency definitely practice makes the man perfect as I said.
Perfect. Divya ji, any
So
additional point?
Similarly, like last year, it was the first year. It was new for the teachers. It
Yeah.
was new for
It was
the
new for
students
everyone.
also.
It was new for us as well.
So it was new for everybody. But
Yeah.
as we say, practice makes a man perfect. So now most of the teachers, they've already practiced it once. So they will be able to, and with the time management, because we know that this coming session we have to do it.
Yeah.
So if we start planning from now itself, you know, we have already made the calendar, we have already got the calendar, and if we can incorporate those days, that 0 period inception which we did it, we can continue with that.
Thank you very much. I'll come to the audience. Any questions for the panelists? Sir, please use the mic.
Sir, I would like to comment this IDAL. So when we say something about any people about Jaipuria, my comment is always coming up about this IDAL only. It's a face of Jaipuria. It starts with IDP, then it is coming as IDAL. So my opinion is that even this work should be, IDAL should be elaborated more and make more projects work. And the real meaning, what is this ideal is not coming to effective in the mind of the students. Actually, it is before it was called learning, transfer of learning years back. Means around 30 years back while we are studying time. Now this is coming in a new name of like IDEL. So we are implementing this project work in every classroom. But actually the real meaning is not coming to the mind of students. So
more impactful implementation is something what you're talking about.
More expert level of meeting we needed to more, because it's a real face. I'm telling Jaipur, it's a real face of our Jaipuria. So that is, we should discuss more elaborately and make it more implement, more ideas.
Fantastic.
We'll make sure that way.
Absolutely.
It's not a matter
Point
of,
well taken.
it is a matter of 4 plans or 5 plans, not a matter here. The beginning of the year, what ma'am is saying is correct only. Now we should be plan it out and make it implement in the heart of every students and parents. Then it should be very, very effective.
Suggestion well taken. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. Kindly use the mic.
Thank you. Sir, my point is, like, since we all are following NEP 2020 and the syllabus is, of course, based on NCERT. So NCERT is having 5 themes. So if we can structure our plan as per the theme from the beginning only, then we can easily continue with 5 ideal.
What are the 5 themes, NEP?
That relation and family, then shelter, travel, plants and animals.
So,
We are doing it.
so those are broad domains.
Yes, sir.
Now, every curriculum has got these domains. So the plans which are mentioned in the ideal are largely based on these and more ingrained into the real big problem. So the fundamental basic of project-based learning, there are 2 things. One, it has to have a problem which is connected to the real world. That's called transdisciplinary learning. Okay, the real world. And the second point of a project-based learning is that the problem has to be relevant to the child. If we are kind of doing a project, we are giving a project to a child to talk about, let's say, war crimes happening in some other part of the world, that remains just as a project, that you gain the knowledge and after getting the knowledge you do some amount of research, collect the data and you present your work in the form of a project file. Now it can be a talk, it can be a poster, it can be a file book. The output can be anything. So project, so it is important to understand the fundamental difference between project and project-based learning. So these are projects where the important component is the output, the product. When it comes to project-based learning, it is actually the process that you are getting to understand or learn certain concepts from day one when it is getting introduced. So if you are introducing, let's say in grade 6, I think there's a chapter on early civilizations.
I would like to add here.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. When we talk about NEP, ma'am, NEP has also come up with a skill subject in grade 6 to 8 also, right? So we have taken, as a school, we have taken financial literacy as a subject. So now I'll just like to relate, I deal with NEP here. So you take grade 7, there is a chapter which says project, which says money matters. So entire financial literacy is, you know, interrelated with that chapter, that children are learning about how the toll tax is to be done, which they've never done. They've traveled on the roads, they've paid the toll taxes and everything, but they never knew how to do it and how it is collected and how it is going to the government. So this is what it is. So somewhere, since it was just the first year, so of course, sir is there and we are there to refine it also. But yes, it is followed and it is streamlined with the NEP, with the skill subjects, everything if you see, the
Along
entire
with
project.
the real life situations,
Yes.
handling how the real life situations are. So what example sir has also quoted and what Divya ma'am has also said, it's more or less, see, NCRT gave themes, but as sir said, there are certain areas where only projects work.
Yes.
So we just have to speak about it. But somewhere we have to feel it, we have to inbuilt, we have to
Internalize it.
express,
Internalize, yes.
and then we have to, you know, give the feedback. As I gave an example, I'll tell you just a very small example, a very humorous example. I wear very traditional saris. So there's a topic textiles. So when the students were doing the project on that, my teachers, they asked me, ma'am, आपके पास तो सारे states की saris हैं. Could you please let me bring them so that we can, you know, show it to the children? This was the involvement. This was not the project. The teacher also got, you know, उसने मुझे observe किया होगा. कि okay, this is, and sometimes they used to ask him, ma'am, which state you're wearing? I'm wearing an Odisha state's sari. So the idea is, it was not a project. The project involved the teacher, the students, as well as the family members. So this is, the entire community got involved, and in that process they got the learning that okay, this particular thing started from this particular area and this is a typical thing of this particular place. So it was not that I learned, because this is the difference I think I get to know about the MUNs and the project-based learnings. MUNs are, if I'm not wrong, it is MUN is actually project. And what our children are doing as ideal, they are the project-based learnings, what
Very
they
well
are
said.
doing.
Very, very well said. Thank you very much to the wonderful panelists.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, audience. So we come to the end of this podcast.